Hi everyone, thanks for stopping by and seeing what I'm up to. My name is Silkyfeather and you can call me Silky. I am on the search for some answers for the SSI and SSDI recipients, the people who are retired. So I've been listening to all these videos, and one guy, you think you're getting an answer and you're on the edge of your seat, and he keeps telling you descriptive words for like a lot of people are calling on the phone. And if you don't believe me, here's a busy signal. And when I mean a lot of people, I mean a lot of people. And I'm kind of tired of trying to find answers. So, Max is the one who I'm going to lean on for the answers for this because it seems like he's the most knowledged and not cuckoo in the head over this stimulus payment. Without further ado, I will be quiet in the corner, I believe in the bottom corner, and I will let you hear what Max has to say. Once again, I am sharing the information. I am not impeding on his glorious success in the YouTube world. I am merely spreading the information with me being nosy, watching up above. Here we go.
So, I hate to break it to you, but I had a terrible realization today. So, I've been carrying around this massive jug of coffee with me for the last week or so. And I realized all week I have been filling it in the morning with decaf coffee. Disgusting. I just can't believe this. So, anyways, let's get into the 10 reasons why you haven't received your $1,400 stimulus check yet. I've been digging into the research. I've been compiling all the reasons. That way, you can see which one most likely applies to you, and you can get a better idea as to what's going on and when you will receive that stimulus payment. So let's just jump right into it. Starting off with number one, you simply don't qualify for a stimulus check anymore. So this is how it works. The IRS is going to use whichever tax return they have on file, whichever most recent tax return they have on file. So if in 2019, your 2019 tax return qualifies you for a stimulus payment, let's say you're a single filer and you made less than $75,000 in that year, you're good to go if you have your 2019 return. But let's say you made $100,000 in 2020 and you've already filed that return, you're not going to get a stimulus payment if they've already processed your tax return because you are higher than the income limit. Now, I've seen this happen a ton of times. If you've been watching this channel, chances are you avoided that issue if you fit in that scenario, because I warned this and I warned this and I warned this to hold off on taxes if you're right on the brink of making too much or not, especially with taxes being extended recently. So there's a lot of people who just simply won't qualify income-wise because of the stimulus payments, income limits, and how steep the cliff is this time around for stimulus payments. Number two, the checks are being sent out in batches. Now, millions of people have already received their stimulus payments, and they can just start churning that economic butter because now the stimulus money is flowing into the system. People are buying their meme stocks. People are buying their food, their groceries, paying off their bills. Millions of people are doing so, but that is just the first round of people. So you have to remember, you might not be in that first round. It seems like payments are getting sent out sooner than ever before, but it still comes in stages. It's not just one big, I've said this before, one big red button at the IRS. It's like, boom, all these payments are sent out. It's not quite like that. They get sent out in batches based on income level, whether you file your taxes electronically, whether you have to direct deposit, a bunch of factors. So you just may simply be in one of the later batches. You can check the Get My Payment tool, and for about 50% of people, that will give you some good information as to when you can expect to receive your payment. For a lot of people, though, it'll just say it's processing or they need more information or things like that. You might just have to wait. Number three, you're getting either a paper check or a debit card this time around. Now, you might receive a paper check or a debit card this time around, even if you never did in the previous rounds. It's a kind of random. And even if you received, like, let's say, a debit card in round two, you might get a paper check in round three. The IRS has said we don't really know what you can expect to receive depending on what you received the first time around. If you're expecting a paper check or a debit card, you can extend that window out probably 4 to 5 weeks before you can realistically expect to receive this payment. They've sent out just a couple 100,000 of these checks so far, and they have the capacity to send out about 7 million a week. So it takes a while to get those all out. And Depending on your income level, you may be at the later portion of that. Again, you should be able to see that status on the Get My Payment tool. Once your payment is mailed, then you can figure, 5-6 days, I can expect that payment. Number 4, your tax return for 2020 hasn't yet been processed. There is a chance if your taxes are not yet processed by the IRS, especially if you did a paper tax return, expect very long processing times this year. If it hasn't been processed, they may be waiting for those returns to be processed before they issue your stimulus payment because your income may have changed. And this also works in the reverse. So let's say you made more in 2019 and then less in 2020. You'll want to file your taxes as soon as possible to show that lower income, especially if you're right on the limits of potentially getting that stimulus payment or not. Number 5, there's an issue on your latest tax return. If you have an issue on your latest tax return and it shows pending, or an issue where they're sending it back to you to request more information, this could delay your stimulus payment because, again, they might be holding off thinking, well, this person may or may not be eligible for the stimulus check. We don't know yet. We have to collect all this information. Then the tax return has to be processed, and then we have to process your stimulus payment, and then you receive that stimulus payment. Also, I've been hearing a lot of reports recently of people who have received more in stimulus payment than they should have. Like, I know someone personally who he has a child, and both him and his spouse received the child dependent payment. I'm digging into this and trying to see if there's any, what people should do there. What's the solution? If you're one of those people, I wouldn't spend that quite yet. I would hold off because remember, like if you have a deceased spouse, you have to actually return the payment. So I would hold off. I wouldn't count that as absolutely yours as of right now, but make sure you stay tuned once I have a definitive answer there. I'm sure the IRS will come out with official guidance. The 6th reason why you may not have received your stimulus check yet is you haven't filed taxes in the last 2 years, nor did you file the non-filers tool before it closed back in November. Now, in order to receive a stimulus payment, you need to either be on some kind of federal benefit program, or you need to file a tax return or use that non-filers tool. Somehow the IRS needs to know your number of dependents and your income level to see what you're eligible for and how much you're eligible for. So if you haven't filed your taxes and you haven't done the non-filers tool, the non-filers tool is closed as of right now. We expect that to open to allow people who have adult dependents to tell the IRS, hey, I have adult dependents, send me an extra $1,400 because that wasn't in the second rounds, but it's not open as of right now. What you can do is file a tax return, a free tax return for 2020. Even if you don't typically file, even if you don't have to file, but that's the way to get a surefire payment. And this is going to cause some hangups for a lot of people. Number 7, your stimulus payment may have been garnished by a debt collector. An unfortunate circumstance here in this third round of stimulus payments is this one can actually be garnished by debt collectors. Because of how the budget reconciliation bill was set up this time around, the stimulus payment can actually be garnished, unlike the first couple rounds. Now, there is a bill that is being processed right now, hasn't yet been voted on, that may disallow this. However, that bill would need to get Republican support in order to get passed. So we're not 100% sure if it would get passed or not. I think that there will be a solution here that will ultimately get passed, but as of right now, it can be garnished. However, you should be able to check if your check has been garnished by checking out that, I just said check way too many times, by looking at your Get My Payment tool and seeing if the funds were dispersed to you. And then if if it was sent to your bank account and you didn't receive them and you have some kind of debts, you might be able to figure out if the debt collector somehow took this portion of the payment. Right now, there's no way to rectify this. Again, I'm hoping in that bill, there's a way to say like, hey, debt collector, send me that money back. That was supposed to be for stimulus payments. That's supposed to stimulate the economy, not to pay off debts. Obviously, I have debts because everyone is struggling right now. The number 8 reason why you may not have received your stimulus payment yet is you moved. If you moved and the IRS doesn't have your new address on your most recent tax return, this could cause a hiccup, especially if you're expecting a mailed payment. If you're expecting a mailed payment, make sure you go to the USPS website and get a forwarding address so it's sent to your correct address. If it gets returned back to the IRS, you're going to have to issue a repayment, and this could cause a lot of delays. Similar to this, number 9, you've changed bank accounts to whatever bank account you had in the past for your tax refund. If you change bank accounts since then, what's going to happen is they're going to send a payment to that bank account. It's going to sit for a couple days, get denied, get sent back to the IRS, and then they're going to mail out a payment. That should all be documented on the Get My Payment tool, each step of the process. However, of course, that can cause some huge delays on when you can receive that payment. And then number 10, the 10th reason, your bank is still processing the funds. Now, this isn't as much of an issue anymore, so that's why I put it on number 10. But banks, even if the funding says it's being sent to your bank, it doesn't mean the bank necessarily has the funds yet, nor can they disperse it yet without any potential risk to them. Certain banks have dispersed the funds earlier than they were actually settled, but some banks are waiting, so there's no risk on their end to then disperse the funds. Now, if you can think of any other reasons why someone might not have received their stimulus check, go ahead and leave those in the comments below. Also, we have opened a community Discord for channel members. So if you become a channel member level 2 and above, I'm doing a $500 giveaway next Friday for all of those members. So you can just click that join button next to the subscribe button. You'll get access to our community Discord, and you'll be a part of that $500 giveaway next week. So I'd like to thank you for watching, and I hope you have a profitable day.